and welcome to Still Meditation. My name is Lella, and tonight we were going to talk about deep listening, but my body had another idea. I woke up on Thursday morning with a headache, which is something I normally do, but by the evening it had developed into a really nasty migraine, and by the next morning I was pretty much bedridden, and I'm still recovering from it. It's not totally gone. So tonight's going to be a little unscripted. So I ask for your patience and your compassion and kindness as we discuss dealing with pain. So some of you, I know, deal with chronic pain, have lived with pain with many years. Others have had more episodic experiences with pain in which there's a beginning and end. Certainly not going to debate what is worse, because honestly, it's not a competition. Whatever pain you experience, whenever you experience, can be very debilitating, and it can take over your life, and it really reduces, in some cases, the quality of your life. So I know in past teachings that I've attended, meditation has been used to help with pain management. And in fact, we were talking a bit about it in my course yesterday and this morning. So tonight we're going to go through a body scan, which we did a few weeks ago. And I know for a lot of people this is a more challenging type of meditation. So instead of working through a theme or going into some sort of guided sort of meditation, this one really is turning your intention inside and looking for bodily sensations. And if you find this one difficult, you're not alone. I kind of treat this one like that exercise at the gym that you really don't like, but you know it's really good for you, so you have to do it. In my case, that's burpees. Really don't like burpees, but I know they're important. They build up your stamina and they build your strength, but I still don't like them. Now with the body scan, the reason we do it and the reason why it's part of something like mindfulness-based stress reduction is it allows you to, first of all, to focus on an area. So again, you're turning your attention from the outside inside. And in addition to just focusing, when you actually can focus on something and sustain that particular focus, you really begin to discover that sensations within the body are impermanent. And that relates well to pain. When we go through painful episodes, they ebb and flow. You'll have your acute phases, and then it'll get a little bit better, and then it'll come back again, depending on the type of pain that you have. So as we practice meditation and we practice sustaining our attention, we're learning that yes, this pain does go away eventually, and it helps us to try to change the relationship that we have with pain. I know there's an analogy they use in the class that, you get shot by an arrow, that's the first pain. But then it's your focus on this pain that intensifies it even more. So it's like you're getting a double shot in the same spot. And I know I was definitely struggling with this on Friday during the more acute phases of this migraine pain, realizing that, I just want it to end. I'm sick of this. I'm tired of feeling this way. And I realized that I had lost my neutrality. I had lost my equanimity. I realized I wasn't living in the present moment. I was trying to figure out what exactly it was that triggered me, which is of course important as well, because I don't want to repeat this. But at the same time, I was making my pain even worse because I was building a story around it and getting upset and adding more somatic experiences to this particular pain. Now that being said, trying to apply mindfulness during the more acute phases is challenging, and I certainly did try. I did have some moments of relief. To be honest, I was grateful even if it was just a minute or so, because it just brought that pain barrier down just a little bit. So tonight when we go through the body scan, the other thing that you'll find, in addition to increasing how long you can sustain your attention and realizing the impermanence of things, when you're focusing on an area that is not where your pain is, you're diverting that attention away from the actual pain. So you're not really feeding it. And I found in this morning's meditation I did, when we did a micro body scan, I was actually able to quiet the pain during that meditation. Now it did come back, oh well, but again, it's ebbing and flowing, so it's not always, at the acute stage. So I think tonight we'll try to do a body scan and just be kind to yourself. Especially if you do suffer from chronic pain and you find sitting immobile or whatever position you hold, being in the same position is difficult, then move. Don't feel like you have to hold it. So let's get together, let's gather ourselves. I'm seated this evening, and so far it's feeling okay. But I ask you to select what position would work best for you this evening. And see if you need a seated position. Maybe a chair would be better, maybe lying down, maybe having your feet up to relieve some pressure in your lower back. And if you have to change midway, that's okay too. So let's take a scan of our bodies right now and just see where we are. So hopefully you're doing okay. Hopefully you don't have any pain. But if you do, just acknowledge that pain. So again, we'll start the meditation with the bell, and we'll end it as well. And I will guide you through the different body parts and allow you to see if you can discover sensations within your body. And if you don't discover something, that's okay. So let's begin. So in your seated position, or your selected position rather, just settle in. If you're seated, try to keep straight back but not rigid. If you'd like to close your eyes, feel free to, but you don't have to. Some people find closing their eyes causes more stress, so don't do it. If you prefer, you can leave your eyes open and just gaze ahead of you, sort of an unfocused matter, so that you're not taking in the visual stimuli, the objects in the room around you. I'm going to keep my eyes closed for most of it, only because the light is bothering it. So let's take a few deep breaths. And let's try to notice where our breath feels the strongest today. Maybe you can feel it at your nose. The air coming in, which is quite cool, and then exiting slightly warmer. Maybe it's at your throat. It could also be at your chest. And it could be your abdomen as well. And if it helps, you can put a hand on your abdomen or chest just to help you recognize your breathing. We use breathing as an anchor. We call it a safer place to be. So that when you're in the meditation and your mind wanders, which it will, or if an emotion comes up, or you start feeling a sensation, you can always go back to the breath. And just know at any time, if you start feeling uncomfortable, you can always pull back and maybe just watch. Just be kind to yourself and give yourself permission to guide yourself through this process. So let's let your breath go back to regular breathing, whatever that is. There's no right pace. It's whatever it is right now. Let's bring our attention to our feet. If you're sitting cross-legged, you can feel your legs on your feet as they're resting against the yoga mat or cushion. If your feet are on the ground, you may feel the fabric against your feet if you're wearing socks or slippers. Maybe the hardness of the ground. If you're lying down, just feel your feet fall away from one another. Sensations could include temperature, maybe a twinge, an itch, or maybe you're not feeling anything at all. That's okay too. So with the next in-breath, move our attention away from the feet and move up to the ankles. Let's see how this particular joint feels. And if your mind has wandered, just bring it back to the ankles. And acknowledge that you recognize that your mind has wandered. That in itself is mindfulness. Now let's bring our attention to our lower legs and our knees, your shins, your calves, your kneecaps. See if you feel any sensation here. Maybe you're feeling some pain or some irritation. You don't need to change it. Just accept it. Just look at it curiously. And as you're paying attention, maybe you'll notice the sensation changing or even disappearing. Now let's bring our attention to our thighs, our quads, our hamstrings, where they connect to our hips. See if there's any holding, tightness. If you experience a sensation from another part of the body, just acknowledge it. And then gently bring your attention back to, in this case, the thighs. With the next breath, let's move our awareness to our pelvis, to our buttocks, our groin area. Whether you're seated or lying down, just notice the effect of gravity. As our body meets the cushion that we're laying on. If at any point you need to slightly shift, then do so. We'll next take our attention to the back of the body, the lower back, the mid back, and the upper back. We store a lot of our tension within the muscles within our backs. See what sensations are happening right now. Let's bring our attention to the front of the body, which includes the chest, the stomach, and the abdomen. Many of our emotions are tied up, especially in our abdomen and stomach. Maybe you have some tenderness. You can feel digestion. If we move into our chest, we can recognize our breathing as our lungs expand and contract. And if we can still ourselves, we can feel our heart beating, pulsing. And with the next breath, let's bring our attention, our arms, from our shoulders to our fingertips. Are your shoulders down, or are they up by your ears? Do you feel any sensation in your biceps, your triceps, your elbows? Your lower arms into your wrists. Lots of area of tension, especially if you're a heavy keyboard user. Into your hands, the top of your hands, the palm of your hands. Can you feel any temperature changes? And see if you can distinguish each finger. Now let's bring our attention to our neck. The back of the neck, sides, and your throat. Let's move up the back of the head. Can you feel your scalp? Maybe the hair on your scalp. And come to your ears. And now your face. And starting with your forehead, your temple. Is it furrowed or is it relaxed? Your eyes, behind your eyes. Down into your cheeks, your sinuses, and your nose. Down toward your lower jaw, your mouth, your teeth. Are they clenched or loose? Is your tongue just resting comfortably behind your teeth? And finally come to the crown of the head. See if you can feel sensations there. And now let's expand our view from the top of our head all the way down to our toes. And think of it like a halo, just progressing down your body as you observe for any sensations as you pass through each body part. Now let's start bringing our awareness back to the room we are in. could start wiggling your toes, moving your fingers, and slowly opening your eyes. Take in the sounds of the room as you bring yourself back to the present moment. I'd like to thank you all for joining me this evening. It certainly hasn't cured the migraine, but I can say it's in a better place than it was when I started. As with all these meditations and exercise itself, it's the practice that really helps. It's certainly one means you can use to help to cope with something like pain, and to start changing your relationship with it. So I wish you all well. Definitely we'll be back next week, and I'll bring back deep listening. So have a good evening, and thank you.